Hello and welcome back to today's video, everyone. Today we'll be getting into port forwarding with a FortiGate from Fortinet. Now, port forwarding is a relatively simple concept. I may have covered it on previous videos. I believe on our Dream Machine, and I can cover it with whatever video, or excuse me, I can cover it with whatever router modem you may have. But the basic gist of it is you are exposing a port to the internet and you're mapping it to a service that is internally on your network, whether this is a web server, maybe it's a phone server, if it's Minecraft server like I'm about to show you guys today, whatever it may be. Port forwarding is essentially the act of exposing that service to the internet so others can view it. It's how many websites work. They essentially port forward from an internal network to the external network, so they can access these web services while keeping everything else hidden behind the scenes through obviously the concept of NAT, network address translation. Now, the reason I'm covering this today in Fortinet in specific is Fortinet does it a bit differently. Typically, it's a one-page, like two-step process when it comes to port forwarding on your consumer routers. And it's fairly easy when it comes to the Ubiquity routers. They tend to make their own rules and everything automatically. However, with Fortinet, it's a bit, I wouldn't say more difficult. It's a little confusing. You may not understand it, especially if you're new to the Fortinet space like I am. Now, while I will definitely be looking into other, tutorials and learning more about the FortiGate itself, I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. That way, if you're using a Fortinet on your own and maybe you're stumped on how to actually port forward the service, you can figure out through today's video. So let's jump right in. And first off, we want to identify the internal server that we're wanting to port forward the service from. So as you can see here, we're actually in our Minecraft server as it is. We're hosting a service on port 25565 internally. So if we go IP space A, you can see our address is at 10.100.0.15. So we're going to essentially connect 10.100.0.15 on port 25565 to our WAN address 25565 port. So how we'll do this is we'll first go into our FortiGate, make sure you're logged in, and head under firewall policy under policy and objects. From here, as you can already see, we do have some rules set up in multiple different networks and VLANs, but we're actually going to head down to virtual IPs. If we head over here, we'll want to create new. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to make a VIP or virtual IP that is our Minecraft server here that's hosting our server, obviously, at port 25565. So first, we'll name the VIP Minecraft server -ATM9 since we're running a modded ATM9 server. Not really pertinent to our current situation right now, but we'll just give it a descriptive name. That way we know what to come back to later on. Now, the interface for this VIP will be where the address is actually being port forwarded from. So because we're doing this on the WAN interface and exposing that port, we're going to select our WAN port, which is right here. And then from there, the external IP address, you can get from the WAN port itself, but for this demonstration, we're going to get it from our third-party service. That's going to help us later. And we'll copy our external address that's provided. And then go back into our FortiGate and paste that into the external IP address /range section. And then from that to our map to IPv4 address /range, we're going to set this to our internal server running the service, which is 10.100.0.15. And finally, we're going to turn on port forwarding protocol on TCP since it's a Minecraft server with only one-to-one port mapping since we're only exposing one port. And the external service port we want to expose to the internet is 25565, and then map that to our internal service running on 10.100.0.15 at port 25565. Now, once everything's been set up, if you want to add comments, maybe a custom color, you can do so. But since we're already ready to go and we're done from here, we're going to hit OK. Okay, and before we get into adding in that firewall policy, just to make sure, as you guys see here, if we check that port, our external IP is not showing a port 25565 is currently open for a service. the service being the Minecraft server. So we'll head into firewall policy under policy objects, hit create new, and then give it a descriptive name for our firewall policy. So Minecraft ATM9 port forward, for example. Keep the schedule as always action accept, and the incoming interface is going to be your internet interface since you're accepting traffic in. So let's go find our WAN interface, and then our outgoing interface will be our where our server is hosted in. This being our management network, so we'll hit management. And for our source, this is going to be everyone because we're accepting traffic from the internet from all walks of life essentially. So we'll hit all, close, and the destination. This one will be our VIP from earlier that we created, the Minecraft server -ATM9. And finally, the service, we'll need to make a new service port for it, or a service section. So we'll go into create service MC 25565. Once again, just a descriptive name you can use. And then comments, if you would like to add one here, you can. We'll keep the service type as firewall, keep the color same thing. And then the category, if you wish to add in something here, you can, but otherwise just keep it as is. And then the protocol type, we'll keep it at TCP, UDP, UDP Lite, SCTP. And the address IP range, we'll keep it 0.0.0.0 since we don't need to specify anything specific for the service. And finally, the destination port 25565 to 25565. And then don't specify anything for source ports, just keep that off. We'll hit OK, select the new entry, and close. So as you can see here, the source all, destination our server from earlier on the service 25565 MC. Inspection mode will keep flow based, and for this one, since we are port forwarding, we're going to turn off NAT. Unless you do have a very specific use case in which you may need NAT for if maybe you have multiple gateways, multiple firewalls on a network, very complex networks, typically you may want to keep this on. But in this case, ours is a little more simpler. We'll keep this off so we can preserve that source IP. When it comes in, we can do IP bans and things like that. VoIP, keep off. We're not doing voice traffic. At least for this service, it may depend once again on your configuration. And SSL inspection, we're not doing any of that. And finally, just for security reasons, to make ourselves feel good, we're going to log all sessions in the traffic, make sure the firewall policy is enabled, and hit OK. And finally, as you can see here, our port forward rule is now in place. Now, as you can see here, we have two rules above it. And this is where you may want to incorporate some sort of blacklist. So as the firewall will filter out traffic, it's going to go down the list, top down being the first. So the first one, it's going to see any one of these IP addresses from these territories, Hong Kong, India, Iran, North Korea, China, or Antarctica, because these are countries that either aren't using our services, we don't expect them to, or we've deemed them too malicious, whatever it may be. These ones will be blocked first, and anything else that falls after that, whether maybe it's in the United States, New Zealand, the UK, they'll be able to use our services on HTTP, HTTPS, and now finally our port 25565 for Minecraft. So now that this policy has been added, our firewall should be good to go. And we can verify that if we go to our open port check tool, port number 25565 with our external IP, which should automatically be populated, hit check, and port 25565 is now open. So now we can invite our friends to our Minecraft server, go ahead and play with everyone else around the globe, and have fun doing so. So if you guys do any questions or concerns, any comments below, put them down. Like, subscribe. Yeah, I guess I'm out.